Well, good evening to the Cellercise family and all those who have joined us tonight. Some of you for the first time and others who have been very loyal and so supportive. I want to thank you. What we're going to do tonight is, well, first of all, I owe you all an explanation. Last week we were getting ready to do our program. And in our backyard there's a little creek that runs from the mountains. It was very, very cold, and I was in my water socks walking around the creek thinking, oh, this feels so good. It felt good, but the feet got colder and colder and colder. And when I got out, I noticed that my left foot felt like it was warming up, but it was really hurting. I'm like, wow, I guess it doesn't like to be cold. And I didn't think a lot of it. But during the course of the day, the pain got worse and worse and worse. And about an hour before the program, it just kind of ballooned and started to swell up all around the top part of the foot. And the joint was very, very painful then. I couldn't walk on it very well. And I didn't know what was going on. And so I looked underneath the bottom of my foot and I noticed a puncture wound. It had gone into the foot. So evidently in the cold water, I had stepped on something that went right up and into the bone, and then I pulled it out and I didn't even know it. So I thought the foot was just thawing out, when in reality I'd stepped on something. So during the hour that I would normally be getting ready for the program, I ran to the hospital and they did some x-rays, and whatever had gone in had come out and it was fine. They gave me some antibiotics, sent me home. Of course, I didn't take the antibiotics, but I held my foot over the side and started to just bounce up and down to get some of that circulation going. And it took a couple days, but in a couple days it was 80% better, and now it's 99% better, and it's not slowed me down at all. But what was really interesting and very, very, very humbling was all the support that I got from all of you. I mean, it was incredible. I was just so grateful. I wish you could all feel, you should, we need that. I want to talk a little bit about that. I wish you could feel the love that we have in the Cellercised community and the Cellercised family. I even had people calling me up today to see if I was all right and if I was going to be on the program. You know, we live in a culture right now where there is so much, and we see it, publicity showing contention and division and hostility and all these negative issues that we're being fed, constantly being fed. And you know, I've shared this with many of you in the past, is that if we get caught up in that, we're dealing in fear and anger and frustration and depression and anxiety and fear and all these negative emotions. We have so much more to offer, and I know in the Cellercised community, you have been so supportive and so loving and so kind and so helpful to so many people. And that's something that's inside of you. That's something we choose. We talk about physical fitness. In physical fitness, we start off with baby steps, and we work and we grow and we get to a point where, you know, we're comfortable and we want to maintain that, and that's great. But for many of us, it starts off as baby steps. And then we grow and we get better and we get better and we get better, and more energy and more balance and greater strength and vitality, and that's what we want. Cells don't get old. They're always replacing themselves. We can strengthen and improve the efficiency of our cells at any age. As the cells get stronger, healthier, more efficient, so do our body parts and functions. We just have to keep at it. Well, that's physical fitness. There's also mental fitness. And that's so important, and it also starts with baby steps. I don't know how to make a bigger impact in the world that we're living in. But if there was a way that I could help people see the world not just as it is, see themselves not just as they are, but as they could become, and create that vision of peace and love and joy and support. It's a different world. And I'm grateful to be part of that world. I think a lot of that, though, is the mental fitness. We need to see ourselves, each one of us, not just as we are today, but as we're going to become in our family, in our home, as a father or mother, grandfather, grandmother, in our physical and our health, in our social and cultural events, spiritual, ethical, mental, educational areas of our body, or of our society. And as we see that, we can gravitate toward that. I've told my kids for many years, I said, it's not so important what we achieve in this world that counts. It's who we become in the process. What we achieve, we're going to leave behind anyway. But who we become, okay, that's what we're going to take with us. And that also involves exercise. It's a mental exercise. It's taking charge of the way that we see ourselves and see ourselves as being better and better, and see each other as being better and better, and look for that which is good, not for that which is bad. You know, I've told my children, my daughter also, I said, if you want to look for something that's wrong in a church, you're going to find it. There's things that are wrong. You can look for it. If you want to find the things that are right, you can look for that too. The difference is the character of the person we're becoming when we're looking for that which is good, instead of fighting against that which is bad. And I just hope that all of us have an opportunity to recognize that the person we're becoming is what we're going to take with us. And in our spiritual, you know, are we connecting every day? It's an exercise. But as we connect, we grow in strength. It's not that the conditions around us change. We don't necessarily have control over that. But the conditions within us change. And we begin to seek the pursuit of happiness. We begin to seek for that which is good. And in the process of seeking for that which is good, we become that which we're seeking. Anyway, that's a long way of saying thank you so much for all of you and for the support that you've shown me, that you've shown each other, and the difference that we can make. And I think that, one more, okay. And many of you have heard me talk about this. The qualities of an ice cube, H2O. H2O is vibrating at a lower level of energy, and it has its own potential at that level. When you raise the level of energy in that ice cube, it becomes water. It's still H2O, but it's vibrating at a higher level of energy. When you raise the level of energy in the water, it becomes steam. It's still H2O, but it's operating at a higher level of energy. We're told, and I believe it, that love is the greatest energy that we have. And if we can increase our capacity to be kind, nurturing, loving, supportive of each other and those around us, our level of energy increases. And this is a personal belief. I believe that when we move on from this world, that level of energy we have developed while we are here, we take with us. And that helps us to rise to a higher level of spirituality. I could be wrong, but I think it's important that we work at laying our treasures up in heaven. The character traits of the person we become, that's what we take with us. And I wish nothing but the best for all of you. I'm glad that you have Cellercisers. We're looking at some uncertain times, and I would not want to be without it. So let's read some customer reviews. We're going to answer some questions. Have your Cellerciser ready. We're going to do a fairly simple routine tonight. It's all on the hips in that area. And we welcome your comments, your remarks. Please feel free to share any questions you might have, any interests you might have with regards to Cellercise. And Justice is in the background, and he will feed those questions to me. But this from Elaine says, thank you so much for your quick response. I love my Cellerciser. It has freed my spine and movement so much. I'm aware of how the body holds old emotional wounds, and your Cellerciser is letting the inner child play again. If I could comment on that, there is a detox that occurs when we're on a Cellerciser. You are breaking up and helping to dislodge heavy metals, toxins, poisons, preservatives, chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, formaldehydes, drugs. We've been exposed to a great deal, and it's accumulative over time. It accumulates in our muscle fiber, in our ligaments, tendons, joints, as well as our fat cells. But as we're moving up and down, as long as we have enough resistance, we can help move that out of the body. Drinking lots of water is very important. Well, there's emotional detox that takes place that we've seen on a Cellerciser as well. And when we're moving up and down, if you have a negative thought that comes to mind, fine, resolve it in your mind. Resolve it in a positive way so you can move on. Don't allow it to hold you back. And then something else may pop up. Resolve it. It's like a meditation. And then think of something positive in your body or your mind or one of your objectives or in a relationship. Visualize it not as it is, but as it can become. First step of faith. Hold on to that faith. It grows and you can nurture that. So it says, however, I seem to have aggravated an already weak area on my right side and I didn't want to rest and recover. Many blessings to you and your team, Elena. So she continued to work through it, and I appreciate that, honey. Thank you. We work through it. Jacqueline writes, I just have to say that I've been jumping daily on my second-hand Cellerciser for over 25 days following the beginning routine, and I've just finished the IGI beginner workout series on YouTube. Only 25 days, and my hubs told me yesterday, unprompted mind you, that he can tell I've been jumping. Thank you so much, Sally Smith and Stephanie, for this amazing gift. So Sally and Stephanie are great proponents of the Cellerciser, and they put together some really good routines and programs too. Amy writes, I purchased my Cellerciser sometime around 2018 or 2019 and added the Mr. Rebounder app when it came out. Sadly, I wasn't very faithful with using either the trampoline or the app. For several years, I wanted to purchase the monitor, but never did so until this year. When it arrived, I needed to contact customer service about a few issues, and I always got a kind reply and even spoke to David Hall himself. What other company can you contact and talk directly to the owner? David Hall is a super nice guy, thank you, and will do whatever he can to help you in whatever way he can. But back to the monitor. What a game changer. I'm now wishing I would have invested in the monitor way before this. It's fun to watch the progress through the various motions and be able to track the intensity of the workout. I, for one, would highly recommend using the app with the monitor. And I must add that I like the new look of the app. Thank you, David Hall, for all you do. And thank you, Amy, for that very kind review. So we got the new look on the Mr. Rebounder app. We have a monitor that is a standalone monitor that many of you are familiar with that will count the number of bounces. It's got an intensity meter, shows you the amount of time, and then how many calories you burned. And then we also have a wireless module that if you have the Mr. Rebounder app, this by Bluetooth will attach to the app and it will give a readout on the app. So the app actually will have a little right side bar that pops up and you can see the number of bounces, the number of calories, the intensity meter. It's right there on the actual app. So appreciate those comments. Yes, Justice.
Heather says, hi Dave, do we need to oil the springs for longevity of the Cellerciser, or is it just for noise reduction?
Just for noise reduction. You know, it can help to some degree alleviate fatigue, but these steel springs are so strong that we've never known of any problem with them stretching out. But the biggest thing is it's quiet, and that's just like everybody else's unit. Yes, Justice.
Mark says, should we be Cellercising during a water fast?
You can, sure. There's nothing wrong with that. You're going to be detoxifying anyway. You're also going to help the body perform and functions in ways that it might not if it's spending more time digesting food and going through all these chemical processes. Remember, there's a spiritual detox, also a mental detox, a physical detox. So when you're tuning in more to the spiritual and you're Cellercising, our cells are transmitters and receivers. That is how they communicate. So I have to question, well, what does that make the body, if not a transmitter and receiver? And when we're fasting and praying, we're connecting to a source that's always there. It's always there. We're just connecting to it. Well, if the cells are transmitters and receivers and they're communicating and we're bouncing up and down and they're expanding and contracting and creating more of an energy field around the cell membranes themselves within the body, what does that do for the body as a transmitter receiver, as something that can now receive more insights, more communication? I don't know what the potential is, but I've gotten a lot of my insights while I've been on the Cellerciser. It's a good question. Thank you, Justice. Jean writes, hello. So wonderful how many lives are being changed for the better because of your teachings. God bless you, Jean. Thank you. You're sweet. Kim writes, I Cellercise every day. I had a few other rebounders before I purchased the Cellerciser. Of course, there is no comparison. I was suffering from varicose veins, pain swelling, and blue spider veins. Since I've had the Cellerciser, though, 6 years now, I am not experiencing any swelling or pain, and the veins have greatly diminished. Thank you, Kim. The Cellerciser, again, has enough resistance that it backflushes valves, opens up capillaries, and pumps the lymph system to help increase circulation, make it easier on the heart. You're pumping with the heart through the one-way valves. That makes it easier on the heart. There are many people who've been able to Cellercise, whereas doing other forms of exercise was not as safe. If you have a medical condition, again, I have to say consult with your doctor or health practitioner, or have them call me. Great many doctors don't know the difference of a Cellerciser or even how to approach it. They just think trampoline, and that's not what this is. Much more than that. Lorraine writes, the app looks fantastic with the updates. Oh, thank you, Lorraine. We've had our challenges, but we're making progress. Yes, Justice, go ahead.
Lauren says, I have had a back injury for about 9 years. It hurts daily, but it blows my mind that I wake up with back pain go on my Cellerciser, and with minutes the pain is gone. Game changer. I just thought you wanted to.
Oh, highlight that. We'll have to share that with everybody too, but that's, thank you. So she's had back issues, wakes up in the morning, the back's bothering her. I can relate to this. When I started, I had that same issue. And then you get on the Cellerciser, move around, and the back pain goes away. Very common with hips and knee issues as well. So it warms up the tissue, gets the circulation going. Lorraine writes, the app looks fantastic with the updates. Love my Cellercise so much that it came with us on vacation from Alberta, Canada to Disneyland. It's helping keep the back pain and migraines away. Oh, Lorraine, yeah, thank you. And we've had so many people that have had migraine headaches that the Cellercise has actually been helpful. So, and great stories. And you can read about those on our customer reviews, and Noreen will put yours there. That was beautiful. And beautiful writes, I have 2 units as well. Love my results. Happen in 2 months. Can't wait to do Libby's abs and the Mr. Rebounder app. Thank you, beautiful. Nancy writes, I purchased my Cellerciser in February 2024 and have used it regularly since. I will be 78 in November next month, well, almost a month away. My husband has Parkinson's disease and is now in a nursing home. I still work full-time to pay for his care there. So as you can imagine, I am pretty busy. I love being able to use my Cellerciser a couple times during the day for short times when stress becomes too much work. I also really find so much benefit from being able to use it after work. I no longer have time to go to the Y or go on substantial walks. So Cellercising for a few minutes here and there really helps me a lot. I believe my balance is better Getting out of the car is easier. Getting up from the chairs is effortless. Getting off the floor when I do stretches is pretty easy as well. I love getting the trophies and seeing my progress. I cannot say enough good things about the Cellerciser. Thank you so very much. And I want to say thank you, and thank you for all the comments on the app. Just as a kind of a recap, the way that we do this in our home is we turn on the app, but we have the app on the phone. You can also have it on an iPad, but we watch a show. So this is something we do every day, or yeah, it's every day. It's either in the morning or at night. And our kids do the same thing. We turn on your show, we turn on the app, we follow the app routine while we watch the show. We mute the music, and then it will ding in between each movement. So we're watching the show, ding, look down, next movement. Watch the show, ding, look down, next movement. The time flies by, and we're enjoying the show. This is why I say, why work out when you can play in? If we can incorporate it into something we like to do, that's great. When we did the Mr. Rebounder app, and we had a great many people. One gentleman called me up and he said, David, I need my ding. I got to have my ding. I didn't know what he was talking about. I'm not, this is a Cellercise company. No, I know this, so I've got to have my ding. Well, we were having problems with the app when we first initiated with some people and some of their software. And he explained the ding was the ding in between each movement. I needed my ding between the movements. I thought, how cute. That's great. I like it. So we may start using it. Did you get your ding today? Yes, Justice.
Claire says, do you have any specific moves or just the health bounce?
Yeah. Any specific moves just for the health bounce?
Yeah, do you have any specific moves or just the health bounce?
Well, yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Okay, so the health bounce is done by putting your feet about shoulder distance and just lifting the heels up and down. That pumps the calf muscle. As the calf muscle flexes, it creates pressure from the lower extremities that pushes circulation back up to the heart. You're pumping with the heart to move that fluid through the one-way valve, so it can help reduce edema, swelling, varicose veins. That's one way. The other way is standing on the Cellerciser. If you want to work the knees a little bit more, it's helpful. I think lifting the heels up and down is better, but just bending at the knee just like this, pushing down into the mat, you're still getting that bouncing movement up and down. It's still very, very beneficial. And you're just working the knees a little bit more. Now, when you're doing the health or baby bounce, it's helpful if you lift your chest up, especially with everybody who works on computers all day long, yours truly included. So as you lift your chest up, roll your shoulders back a little bit, pull your chin in, and just bounce up and down in this position so that the muscles and the fascia flex around that alignment, because it can't support it. Skeletal system can't support itself. So when we're moving up and down, we're putting weight on the cell membrane. The cell is going to fortify its membrane with more protein to compensate for the increased amount of weight, but it's doing it with your posture in the right position, and that's what we want. So that, hopefully that answers that. Okay. We read that one. Sydney writes, yes, the Cellerciser enabled me to walk without pain after I ruined both my Achilles tendons. I was walking slow and tenderly like an old granny between my ruined tendons. And the Cellerciser, okay, and the Cellerciser, between my ruined tendons and the Cellerciser, I could barely bounce on it, maybe a minute, because my tendons were so damaged. Then I bounced kneeling on my hands and feet for a few more minutes. After only 3 days, I could bounce on my feet for as long as I wanted. It was like a miracle for me. My tendons have been injured and debilitating for 4 years, trying everything before I got my Cellerciser. It really was miraculous in my experience. Yet it was the Cellerciser. Yet it was the Cellerciser, not God. God must have inspired Dave Hall in creating the Cellerciser. Yes, he did. Absolutely. Thanks be to God and Dave. Thank you. Thank you. And he was definitely led you to the Cellerciser. And I am very grateful for any role that I may have been able to play in that. So thank you. Roger writes, Dave, lifting you up for complete healing from our divine great physician, Jesus Christ. Thank you on behalf of my family for the creation of the Cellerciser. It is helping me to exercise and get healthy as well as my daughter in Texas and sister-in-law in Nebraska. Roger. Wow, guys. These are precious. You're precious. Thank you. We've got some questions to ask. I'm so grateful. I feel privileged and honored to be able to answer the phone calls, to be able to talk with you, to share with you, to work at inspiring you. But the source of anything that I'm able to give it's not from me, it's from inspiration. I really believe it's from God too. And I am a Christian, and I do believe in Jesus Christ, and I do believe in his teachings, and I know we'd have a much better, kinder, friendlier, more productive, and healthful world if we could all embrace in those teachings. And you know, it doesn't matter to me what religion someone is. I don't care. What I care about is the character of their person. I don't care about skin color. I don't care about choices that people make for themselves. And what I care about is people that care, and people that are here to make a difference, people that can support each other as part of the human race, which we are. And it's interesting how, if you note how people pull together in catastrophes. When there's a catastrophe, all of a sudden the little issues that create contention and division, they don't mean anything. We're coming together to support each other and our families and our communities and our homes. But why do we have to go through a catastrophe to get to that point? I hope, the Cellercised family, that you will continue to be a difference in the lives of others, and that they will recognize it. But I'm glad that we can come together. And I've shared this too, when you have a bunch of coals and they're all glowing with energy, and you take one of the coals away, it cools down. But you bring it back, it heats up again. Collectively, we're out there making a difference. So, thank you. Question, Cherie writes, one more on the app. How do you change the settings so that it doesn't count to 3 or 5 in between every single movement? Thank you. And thank you for the question, Cherie. All right, so if you go to the app, and if you go to the top right-hand corner, there's a little figure of a man or a female, depending on your settings. You can create that, and that little avatar, and you click on the avatar, and then it's got settings. So you can see settings right there, about halfway down. Click the settings, and then it says the default time length. Right now I've got it at 1 second. If you put the default time setting at 0, 1, or that one's, 1 second, that will take care of it. And you won't have to go through a rest period in between each movement. Now, if you want that rest period, you want to do a routine, and you're doing a particular movement, and you want to have some time before you do the next movement, well, then you can go ahead and increase that time. But I hope that helps answer that question. Sherry writes, I am new. Do you have any suggestions for TMJ? Do you have any suggestions for nasal sinus congestion as well? I'm looking forward to having both of these issues resolved eventually. Thank you for your help. Sherry, All right, so TMJ, jaw, posture has a lot to do with it. You can massage the jaw and the muscles in that jaw just by doing little circular movements. As you're moving up and down, you're moving fluid, and the tissues gently expanding and contracting. You're helping to push that fluid and circulation in that jaw area. The other question was TMJ and, oh yeah, sinus. If you're on the Cellercise, you start to move up and down. It's like a dam holding water back. And then all of a sudden the water starts banging against the dam. Pretty soon it can break right through that dam. That's what Cellercise does. As you move up and down, it can start to break and open up the sinus, especially people that have allergies or they're stuffy in the head. It can break up that mucus. If you get on the Cellerciser and you jog, if you just run, lift your knees and just run in place, just that alone can help pump more circulation and clear the sinuses. And then the movement up and down can help offer that relief. So hopefully that helps. Terry writes, I love this exercise rebounding and your app also. Boy, we've had so much support for the app. I'm so grateful. Thank you. First time I have ever enjoyed exercise so much and look forward to it. My question is, have you ever worked with anyone with AFIB and rebounding? Just curious if you've heard of anyone with AFIB having issues with rebounding. Terry, I haven't. But again, have them check with their doctor or health practitioner. But the moving up and down pumps with the heart. So as you're moving up and down, everything collectively is working, not just as body parts. It helps relieve the stress and tension and open up that circulation. But again, if you have a medical condition, it's important to check with your doctor or have your doctor give me a call and I can at least pass on our experiences, knowledge that we have as well. On your app, is there music? If so, can I turn it off and just have the beeps? I'm getting my Cellerciser on Thursday. I'm so excited, Lisa writes. Thank you, Lisa. And yes, you can mute the music when you do a routine, so it just beeps. And let's do an example here if we can. So if I pick the third routine, if I start it, okay, that's the music. You see this little music button right there. If I click on that music button, it's got, you can't see it, but it's got a line that goes through it now. So now all you have is the silence, and so you can watch a show. And then when it goes to the next movement, if you listen, it will beep. So you look down and see the next movement. Next movement. And that's how it works. Okay, go back. All right, Annan writes, I live in India and there are no reputed rebounder brands available. I'm unwilling to order online as I'll have to pay hefty custom duty and taxes at the time of delivery. Please suggest how I can buy a Cellerciser, please. I don't have an answer on an, I don't know if anybody else does. We would like to get in India, we would need a distributor. If there's somebody you know in that area who would like to become a distributor of Cellercisers and then import them, we have opportunities worldwide for expanding the product line. We would just need somebody who's qualified that's able to do that. Otherwise, we do pass on our discounted shipping rates, but I understand the shipping is expensive because the units weigh a lot. I mean, it's not something that's cheap. Their trifold is 46 pounds, and a bifold with a bar is going to be 41 pounds. So hopefully we'll have a better answer in the future. Ked writes, focus more on resistance training and less on cardio, even if it's the same workout. Post-menopausal women need to do strength and resistance training more than cardio. It's a change in paradigm from what we assumed in the past. Could you please comment more on the resistance and strength aspects of the Cellerciser? Yes, the whole thing is resistance. That's what it's based upon. It's based upon the forces of acceleration, deceleration, and gravity. Those are three forces working on the body, not just one. Most exercises just work against gravity. When you lift weight, against gravity. When you're walking, you move your center of balance forward against gravity. When you're doing leg lifts, it's against gravity. But Cellercise doesn't just use gravity. It uses the forces of acceleration, deceleration. It's all resistance through the entire body. Bones, muscles, ligaments, tendons, skin, collagen, fascia. It's not limited. It's on everything. And it's all resistance oriented. So you weigh more at the bottom of the bounce. That increase of weight, think of it this way. If you were to lift that weight away from gravity over and over, great for that muscle doing the lifting. Now we got to do all the other muscles. With Cellercise, it's on every cell membrane. Every cell membrane is expanding and contracting over 100 times a minute with weight against the membrane. The cell doesn't care where the weight comes from. The increase of weight causes a response. That cell fortifies its membrane with more protein because it doesn't want to rupture. It recognizes the need. I don't lift weights away from gravity. I increase the weight of gravity. And it's on every cell of the body. So yes, thank you. It's all resistance. Bones, muscles, everything. Skin, collagen, fascia. Judy writes, hi Dave, is there anything I can do to elevate vertigo or alleviate vertigo? Any movements while bouncing? I know there's the Epley maneuver. I've had 4 attacks. If anybody knows about vertigo, it is just horrible. And Judy, I haven't personally known anybody that after Cellercising for a month has not substantially reduced, if they're doing it every day, the symptoms of vertigo. I've not known anybody. My wife had vertigo and she Cellercised and it made all the difference in the world. I don't know why. We're still looking into that. But the movement up and down, it's moving fluid past the stirrup, the smallest bone of the ears. It's affecting crystals in the ear. It's challenging proprioception. This movement up and down, yeah, when you first begin, have somebody there to catch you in case you get dizzy. But you can also start off by sitting down on the Cellerciser. And when you sit down on the Cellerciser, you can just bounce like this as well. So you're not worrying about it, but you can challenge it little by little. And over time, we've seen tremendous results from people that have been able to do that. So, good question. Deb writes, I just had a total hip replacement 3 weeks ago. I've been walker and cane free for 2 weeks. Can I ever use my Cellerciser again? Are there certain exercises I can do while I heal? I asked my doctor and tried to explain the Cellerciser to him, but he just said, no jumping on a trampoline. I'm sure that gentle bounce would be a good place to start, but I'm stumped as to what else would be safe to try. I can't be the only one who's had a hip replacement and returned to using the Cellerciser. And no, Deb, you are not. We have one gentleman Cellercising and a double hip replacement and still skis. He skis. He trains on the Cellerciser. So the movement up and down, this isn't a trampoline. The movement up and down is gentle, is going to help increase circulation, reduce inflammation because it's pumping circulation through the body and is activating the lymphatic system. That's all just warming up the tissue. Very, very helpful. And then from here, after we've warmed it up, it may take a minute, a couple minutes, a few minutes. And then we can just rock side to side. As we gently rock side to side, we're working the hips, the thighs, and the knees. It's very gentle. And then as that area becomes stronger and more flexible, we want to work all the way around. Then ask your doctor if you've got the movement that will allow you to do the gentle twist. And this is what we're going to be doing tonight, is all on the hip. So check with your doctor, but don't try to do everything we're going to do tonight. We want to approach it gently and I am happy to talk to your doctor or your physical therapist about some of the different approaches that deal specifically with the hip. That's something what we'll be doing tonight as well. Okay. Hi, I've been slowly working my way up to 10 minutes on the Cellerciser rebounder, adding 1 minute every day. I rebounded 10 minutes today. I've noticed that my ability to hold my pee when I get the urge has become worse the past few days. When I Googled pros and cons of rebounding, one article said that rebounding is bad for the pelvic floor and cause injury. Do you have any thoughts or feedback for me? Thank you so much. Maybe I'm not a good candidate for rebounding. Thank you, Shauna. It's a good question. We've had many people with that issue. And the Cellerciser, the sphincter muscle, the Cellercising movement up and down is going to be putting pressure on that muscle. If the muscle is weak, then yeah, there's going to be leakage. That's very common. But how do you strengthen a muscle? You apply more weight or stress to it. What happens over time? It gets stronger. So when we're on a Cellerciser, and there's a couple of things I'm going to show you, we can tighten, the Kegel method, just tighten and then bounce. As we're tightening and then bouncing, we're tightening that muscle as best we can, and then we're putting weight on it. And as we apply weight on that muscle at the same time, that muscle can get stronger and firmer. Read the customer reviews on it. Another one is to sit down on the Cellerciser so you don't have just the vertical movement up and down while you're building up the internal structure, which is composed of connective tissues, the fascia surrounding it as well. You can put your hands on the mat to help support your back. Tilt backwards a little bit so you don't stand just vertically. Tighten and then bounce up and down. As you're bouncing up and down, you're working on all the internal organs. All that internal structure is getting firmer and stronger, but you don't have to have all that downward pressure. You're sitting back some while you are putting weight on the internal structure so it can start to firm up and get stronger. Yes, Justice.
Mark says, when resting your hands on the balance bar, are the hands and arms really being Cellercised?
Depending on what you're doing, yeah, there's still weight. As I'm moving up and down, I don't know, well, you can't see it in this slide, I'm sure. But as I'm moving up and down, I can still see the weight on the arm as I'm moving up and down. I just have my hands here. So whether I have my hands there or not, you still have all that movement, all that weight-bearing activity occurring. The bar basically just gives you the ability to put more effort into movements so you can get better results, so you can create more leverage. For example, Cellercise is one of the only exercises out there that can help you become strong in altered positions. So if performance is very important to you, whether you're in sports or athletics, or you're in the fire department or the police department, SWAT team, military, you want or need a competitive advantage, then being able to exercise in a way that most people never do is going to give you that advantage. So, for example, if I'm jogging in place, which is great, I mean, we can all jog, but if I tilt backwards and jog, now I'm becoming strong in this position. So that when I'm in that position, if I've been pushed in that position, I'm still going to be able to respond more effectively than somebody who never exercises in that position. If I'm working on the waist and the hips and I'm kicking out side to side, that's great for the waist and the hips, but I'm at an angle. So if I'm moving in any athletic sport activity or movement, I'm going to be stronger in that position because most people are not exercising in altered positions. And it's the same thing if I'm working the lower back and the buttocks. If I'm leaning forward, well, I'm going to be stronger in that position than the average person who never exercises in an altered position. Those are key benefits, and they've helped many people. And I've shared this story before. A lady who was hanging up her Christmas lights, and she gets to the corner of her house. She's on a ladder outside, and she's wrapping around the corner of her house, and she loses her balance. Now she's got an iron fence with those spikes that goes from her house over to her neighbor's yard, and she's about ready to get skewered on the top of that. So she pushes off from the house and the ladder to miss the gate or the fence, and is able to land on the ground and roll and get up. And she called me up, she says, she was in her later 50s, she said, there's no way I could have done that before Cellercise. I said, I get it. I do. You develop a balance and a response system that the average person doing typical exercises doesn't get. And that's just another advantage for balance, rhythm, timing, dexterity, hand-eye coordination. Yes, Justice?
Michelle says, how does it help with vertigo?
Vertigo. Vertigo, yes. Okay, so moving up and down. That moves fluid past the stirrup, the smallest bone of our ear. The crystals in the ear itself that are floating around up there, they can balance. They can balance the body. We don't know exactly why. We don't know what all is occurring. We need more research done to it. But in my experience working with people that have vertigo, including my wife, after about a month of Cellercising, most people notice a dramatic difference, and because they can move again, and it doesn't bother them like it did. So that doesn't mean they can go crazy, but they can. I mean, maybe eventually they could, but very often they're able to enjoy roller coasters again and rides, and because they don't have that that ability. When you have vertigo, you do not want to lose your balance or equilibrium, and because it's not a fun feeling at all. But Cellercise, again, whether we're sitting down starting off or standing up starting off, we are stimulating brain activity, proprioception, nervous system, vestibular balance, as well as we move fluid past that stirrup, the smallest bone of our ear, and challenge our balance and equilibrium processes. That's how we get it to begin with. Remember, no one is born with balance. We're not born with it. Babies stand up in a crib and they start to bounce up and down. And that's universal, anywhere in the world. They want to bounce up and down. They get on the crib or graduate from the crib, they want to jump on a couch or a bed. It's that moving up and down. It's important. That's how we challenge our balance mechanism and our brain activity. Okay. Patty writes, I was just diagnosed with osteoarthritis in my left knee. Muscles all around my right knee are tight. Chiro is working on it to release with cold laser. I'm afraid to do much more than bouncing on Cellerciser. Oh, okay. All right, so let me show you some techniques that you can talk to your doctor about. But the gentle movement up and down to warm up the tissue. The hip rock side to side to work hips, thighs, and the lateral knee. Very helpful. The bending at the knee to build up and strengthen the knee. And that's good to build up and strengthen it. Now to open up the knee, to increase the flexibility of the knee so it has a fuller range of motion. We can stand on the Cellerciser, position ourselves. There's a couple ways of doing it. You see me do it with the table too. But you just bend at the knee, jump up, come down, and bend at the knee. Jump up, come down, bend at the knee. Jump up, come down. And so this movement here, you may not be able to go down all the way to begin with, and that's okay. Just go to this point or to this point. But as you do it, you start to increase the strength and flexibility in the knees themselves, and you'll feel it. It's intense. Did you have one, Justice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lauren says, my mom turned 87 tomorrow and she has a broken foot. I have told her about the Cellerciser. Would you suggest her trying it just to doing a sit-in bounce? Do you think it would help with healing?
Yeah. Yeah, doctors know bones and muscles heal faster and grow stronger when exposed to some stress. That's the idea behind the walking cast. Wish a happy birthday for me. When I broke my foot, and I've done it several times, doing things, I would put it over the side Now, I'm not saying that she can do this, but that's what I did. I put it over the side and bounced up and down because it's weight bearing. This is weight. You just don't have to put it on anything. The G forces create the weight. But you're right, sitting on the Cellerciser, putting her foot up on a pillar or something and bouncing up and down is still pumping circulation through the whole body. That can help reduce inflammation. That can help promote faster healing as well. So, all right. Last one. Kimmy writes, I've had my Cellerciser for many years. Used to use it regularly, but then didn't use it for years. Getting back on it, and it seems to be fine, but the handle is loose. We can't figure out how to make it tight. Is there a trick? Or do I need to order a new one? Would a new one work with an older model? Thanks for your help. Oh, there is another one after this. Okay. Yeah, we get that a lot. Balance bar, look how loose that is. We want that. And I think I've talked about it recently. We've got what's called static balance and dynamic balance. It's important to understand both. Static balance isn't going to help you much. Dynamic balance is what we want. That's how we catch ourselves. That's how we move. That's important for walking, running, and various activities. We get dynamic balance by challenging dynamic balance. We're not born with that. So when we're on a fence post and we're walking across the railing, okay, we're balancing ourselves. That's dynamic balance. We're using the nervous system, brain activity, proprioception, muscles all throughout the body to hold ourselves in that position. And that's great. That's dynamic balance. If you were to stand on that same fence post and you're going to walk across the railing, but you grab a pole and you're holding on to the pole while you move across, you're not using your dynamic balance at all. You're dependent upon the pole. Well, that's not going to help you much when you might need to have your dynamic balance in any particular situation. Well, if you were to stand on that same fence post and you're walking across a railing and you grab a willow branch and the willow branch moves, but you're holding on to the willow branch, you're able to negotiate your balance much, much better, and you're improving your dynamic balance. The Cellerciser has all those properties. If you need it for static balance, because you're just not sure, you pull it toward you, it stiffens up like a pole, and you can hold it there, and it's fine. And just keep holding it toward you. But with most people, without even knowing it, it becomes more like a willow branch. They just have their hand on it. And then they're doing the different movements, side to side, kick outs. It's just there. They can pull it toward them if they need it. But as a willow branch, you are challenging your dynamic balance. You're not just dependent upon the balance bar. A lot of people don't understand that difference. And we've tried to incorporate that within the Cellerciser. Romo writes, what do you do with the squeaky rebounder? So it's more like this. On our website, if you go to our website, go to the top of the menu bar where it says the difference, click on the difference, and then go to care and maintenance. And when you go to the care and maintenance section, it'll have a whole bunch of videos, and it will show you how to quiet down a Cellerciser. These things can be whisper quiet, as you can hear. This is very, very quiet. It just takes a little bit of work, not much, to make it that way. And I show you how to do that on the video, and that's exactly what I do. Yes, Justice.
Mark says, what do you recommend to increase how many push-ups we can do?
How to increase many push-ups? Well, the Cellerciser will help automatically. It should, in fact, we have a lady who is part of a fire department, and they have to qualify. They have to do push-ups and pull-ups and various different exercise movements to qualify, and she wasn't doing too well. And then she got the Cellerciser. She was just Cellercising. And when she went back to qualify again, she was doing the push-ups. And the fire chief got interested in the Cellerciser because of her. It was a substantial difference. So just bouncing on the Cellerciser can increase your strength, whether you're doing arm wrestling or whether you're doing push-ups. It's pretty remarkable the way that happens. But there's nothing to stop you. I mean, you go and do some push-ups too, and then do Cellercise. You're working at a cellular level. So I think the body gets more dense, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's the ligaments and tendons that are getting stronger, but there's definitely a difference. In fact, you ought to try one day, just do the push-ups before you Cellercise, and then Cellercise, do a Cellercise routine, and then do push-ups. See how many more you can do. That's good too. All right, so we are going to do our routine. So if I can get you to, if you have your Cellerciser, let's go. This is under my workout. So the Cellerciser has got beginning, intermediate, advanced, seniors. Has got 35 pre-made routines. No, it's more than that now. We're always adding to it. And then it has an actual library of 65 movements that you can combine, and you can create your own routines. And that's what I did. Is I created a new, a very simple, gentle, effective routine for both loosening up the hips and increasing strength in the hips. And so that button right here, it says My Workouts. And that's where I store my routines. So we're going to go to My Workouts. And at the bottom here, I've got, it's called Hip Strength and Flexibility. So I gave it a name and then put a little movement in there. And you can create your own library of movements. And let's go ahead and get started. Now, we're going to do, and I always recommend we do the health bounce or baby bounce to begin with, to warm up the tissue and increase the circulation. And that's what we're going to do right now. So, let's see, we had the sound working earlier. This TV, for some reason, it works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. So, all right, it works. Okay, so just let's, do the health of baby bounce. And if you're lifting your heels up a little bit and kind of pushing down, trying to prevent the heels from landing on that, you're going to be working the front of your foot more and the calf muscles and your arches. So, and just enjoy it. That's why I say sometimes we work harder than we have to. Nothing wrong with working hard. You can work hard if you want. That's okay too. So it has a little icon at the bottom kind of showing you what the next movement is going to be. We're thinking about making that just one movement. We'll put it up in the left-hand side of the app, so it just shows you what the next movement is going to be. It's a little bigger, a little easier to see. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're rocking. We want to lift our torso up, and just kind of as we're lifting high, we're getting that stretch all along the muscles on the side. So it's just that stretching up and down. Don't overdo it, but if you can feel a little stretch, you can feel that stretch in the hips, you can feel that stretch in the psoas muscle, on the waist. It's just wherever it's tight. And this is helping to pump and increase circulation between the vertebral joints of the back as well to increase flexibility in the back. Okay, now we're going to do the twist. And as we're doing the twist, we're working at the waist. Again, kind of lift yourself up. You can actually feel what's going on in the body as you're doing that little twist to get that stretch. But you're doing so much with this movement. So we're working all the muscles that wrap around the waist here right now. And then we're going to work the hip socket area. And you can do repetitions of this. This routine's only 12 minutes long. You can clone the routine. There's a clone button. You clone it, copy it, and it's up in the top right-hand corner, I believe. You clone it, and then you can add to it. So you can customize or change the routine to last a little longer if you want, or shorter, it's up to you. Okay, now we're gonna keep this is not exactly what it shows him doing, but what I want you to do, keep the hip straight ahead. We are simply working the hip socket area. So we're twisting, but our waist is straight ahead. So this is all in the hip. So this is what's helped people that have had sciatica issues. It loosens the muscles that wrap around this whole area. It's been incredible over the years of results that we've had with people doing this movement. So this is all helping increase fluid movement, circulation, and flexibility in that hip joint area. So it's done just by twisting like that. So it's, and we want good, flexible hips. And this is one of the movements. Okay, now we want to jump side to side. We're also lifting our torso up and feeling that stretch as we're rocking side to side. So somebody asked earlier about the bar. If you want to make it so it's not as wiggly, you can put one layer of duct tape around the leg and then slide the bar over the leg. With that one layer of duct tape in it, stiffens it up. I can feel the stretch here, probably more of the psoas muscle, I suspect. But you're pumping the lymphatic system. This is a big pump. And as you're rocking side to side, you're also loosening up the vertebral joints along the back and all the muscles along the back. But just think tall. How you doing, Justice? Good. Good. Okay. So just kickouts. Now we're working on strengthening the hip, that whole hip socket area as well. All the ligaments and muscles. We're working the obliques too. So the hips. So as I come down with that weight there, that's a lot of weight. So don't overdo it. But you can see how doing the app of watching a TV show, the time just flies by. You're watching the show, and then You hear the ding. So now we're going back to the twist. We're loosening up those muscles, keeping them loose, even though we were strengthening them too. And when you start this, you don't know how much space you have between the vertebral joints and the disc. So start off gently. And you can stay on the mat the whole time. You don't have to jump off the mat. This is digestion, elimination. You're working on the colon and the intestines, the liver, kidney, spleen, gallbladder, pancreas, adrenals, all throughout the spinal column, spinal fluid. Okay, so now it's back to this one. Hips straight ahead, we're working the hip socket area again. Again, this isn't for, it's not a big aerobic exercise, it's for the health and flexibility and strength in the hips. And a key, while you're doing it, you're putting weight on the body. So if you want to work the chest or the stomach or the shoulders, tense those muscles up while you're doing it. You can tense the stomach muscles up and still be working the hips. And if you want to work the upper back, you just lift the arms up a little bit while you're doing it too. We're focusing on the hips right now. Okay, so now this is a stretch. So we're leaning and lifting our body up high, but opening up the lower back and that whole side of the hip again. If you're not feeling any stretch, that's great. You probably have some better flexibility than you thought. But think lifting up the body. And then you can guess we're going to do the other side next. And the side that you may have a little more, if you have curvature in the back, a little scoliosis, your hips are out of alignment a little bit, you'll likely feel more stretch on one side of the body than you do on the other. If you have a lot of stress in the lower back, you may also, this might be helpful too because it's helping to open up the vertebral joints in the lower back and increase circulation to those discs too. Okay, I'm back to the gentle twist. Kind of restoring balance or homeostasis through that whole area of the body. And again, you can tighten those stomach muscles while you're doing it, and you're getting an isometric for toning and an isotonic for building, because it's all weight bearing. And then we're going to end up with just a gentle bounce. Roll your shoulders back a little bit. Chest up, pull your chin in a little, and you may feel that in the back, and that's okay. You don't have to overdo it, but if you feel a little bit of resistance while you're holding a proper position, That means the body is starting to adapt again. And congratulations. So that's our Mr. Rebounder app. Thank you for being part of the program. Thank you for your comments. And again, as always, thank you for being a difference and making a difference. Please share the program if you think it has value to anybody that you care about. And we will see you in a couple weeks. And with Cellercise, I always have to say, I should say, why work out when you can play in? Let's make it fun. Thank you. Blessings to all of you. And we will see you in a couple weeks.